Alright, hello everybody. Excuse the weird situation that we're in here. This is time for a late night movie wrap up. And see, the thing is, this is going to be my movies from September through December in 2020. It is end of January 2021 now. I've decided that even if I'm not going to keep up with editing and posting these in a timely manner, I can at least film them in a timely manner. But first, I have to catch up here, and then eventually I'll, do my top 19 of 2020. Might just skip that this year, honestly. I don't know. I won't skip it. I'll do it at some point. But I do have a bunch of movies to wrap up. This is like it's roughly 18 movies because it's like the last half of the year. So if I go fast, that is why. It also includes some TV shows. I've got a number of DVDs. Other ones I will just put up a poster. So first movie I watched in this time frame was 300, which came out in 2006. This is the first time I've ever watched this movie. If you were unaware, this is a film dramatization kind of story about the Spartans who held the pass against the 300 Spartans. They defeated the entire Persian army. I will say there were some really interesting directorial, not even directorial, but really picture ideas here. There were some really interesting things that stylistically that I really liked about this movie. There's not really there is some in terms of character, but it's a fucking war movie, so there's not a lot. But it was really interesting watch, just stylistically, picture wise. I enjoyed it. Then I watched Young Frankenstein, which came out in 1974. This is a VHS tape. This is my first time watching Young Frankenstein. Actually, I very much enjoyed it. It's like a comedy. It's a Mel Brooks movie, but it's a comedy version of Frankenstein, where a descendant of Frankenstein He ends up getting this Eastern European castle willed to him, and he goes there and he finds out the secret to making life, and it is very fun. I mean, it's hilarious. It's fucking Mel Brooks. I enjoyed it. It's Gene Wilder. This is one that one of my old college roommates used to really love, and I do understand why, because it's funny. Yes, I did watch this one. Like I said, I'm gonna go fast. I'm gonna go faster. My goal is a movie a minute. So after that, I watched Saw 2, which came out in 2005. This was actually my very first horror movie I ever watched. This is not exactly a new watch for me here. My very first, I guess, R-rated horror movie. But this, it's the sequel to Saw, which I still have not seen. So I'll watch that at some point. I know I have it, I just haven't watched it yet. But in this one, a bunch of people get pretty much put in a house. And that figure out why they're all there, because they are all connected beyond the obvious they're bad people thing, and also how they have to get these antidotes to this pathogen that's going through the vents, or they all die. And obviously they have to go through traps and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. I don't watch Saw for the plot. I watch Saw for the kills, and there were a lot of fun kills in this one. It's a really fun one. I enjoy it a lot. One day I'll watch the first movie. Then I watched The Shed, which came out in 2019. I'll put up a poster. This was a Shudder exclusive. I had Shudder for a while. Then I stopped because I didn't care to have it anymore. I don't know. I wasn't watching it enough to justify paying for it. It's a good service if you like horror movies. But The Shed is about this kid who, a very time period ambiguous, but it's about this kid who ends up with a vampire in his shed. And he's really beaten down kid. His dad is abusive, and he's not really I think he's his uncle that he lives with, and he's bullied at school. His best friend is they call him Dahmer. It's Dommer, if I remember correctly. His best friend is my favorite character, and it's just about the ethics of feeding people to your shed vampire. It was a fun movie. I don't think it got very good reviews, but I really enjoyed it. It's just a really fun teenage horror movie. I liked it. You know when you name a character Dahmer that they're not going to turn out to be a good person. You just know it. After that, I watched Marie Antoinette, which came out in 2006. This awakened another French Revolution thing in me. So thanks, Marie Antoinette. Thanks, Kirsten Dunst. But this is a dramatization of the life of the legendary French Queen Marie Antoinette, played here by Kirsten Dunst. And it's fun. I really enjoyed how how they modernized some parts, with some of the really fun parts of her like trying on dresses and stuff like that. I also really liked how they shifted like the light and the tone of this movie compared to what was going on, because when we're just looking at Marie Antoinette, her life looks fabulous, but you know that like she gets her head cut off in like 3 years. I will say this did spark another, like I said, it did spark another French Revolution phase in me, so that's happening. I enjoyed it. Then we're in October now. I watched Scream 4 from 2011. I liked it. I like the Scream movies. I think they're a lot of fun. It's not my favorite horror movie franchise, but I do enjoy them. I think they're fun. I ended up watching this one with my boyfriend. We watched it together. That's what we do. We watch Scream movies together. And it was fun. I mean, I was spoiled for one of the killers, but the other one, I was not spoiled for. I was also happy to see the guy who played Euronymous in Lords of Chaos was in there, so that's interesting. But it was a fun one, a good addition to the series. Then I watched an old ass action movie that is Steel Justice. Came out in 1987. This is about this like big beefy guy who is friends with this Asian doctor, and the Asian doctor and his family get slaughtered by the mafia, by the Yakuza maybe, and then he has to go and make sure that the daughter doesn't get killed. It's a lot of action. It's very, very 80s actiony. It's fun. I don't know, there's not much to say about it. I watched it. Another tape here. Then I watched, this is a fun one, Texas Chainsaw 3D, which came out in 2012. This was the Texas Chainsaw kind of sequel situation where it was like a descendant of the Sawyer family, and it's the Alexandra, whatever her name is. I don't remember what her name is. Alexandra, I don't know. Daddario. I knew it was one with a D in it. But a lot of people don't like this movie. I thought it was fucking fun, man. It was so much fun. I loved all those cheesy one-liners. I loved seeing Leatherface in kind of more sympathetic light. I mean, Leatherface is always portrayed in a semi-sympathetic light because you know he's not the worst in his family. He's just a mentally disabled and big. But I liked it. You know that cheesy line at the end? She says, "Get him, cuz," and she throws the chainsaw. I cheered. I was laying on the floor in front of my little TV and I cheered. I loved it. Fun times. I honestly, this is my favorite horror movie franchise. I love the Texas Chainsaw movies. I will probably love any and every Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that they ever come up with if I love this one. So I'm excited for any new Texas Chainsaws that come out. I heard that there was going to be another one, but then like production got stalled, so I don't know. But it's a very popular franchise, so I wouldn't be surprised, even if that one doesn't go work. Anyway, after that, I watched The Nightmare Before Christmas, which came out in 1993. This is not my first time seeing The Nightmare Before Christmas, obviously, but it was Steven's first time, so we watched it. It was fun. Every time I watch this movie, I think of the alt-rock album that came out covering these songs in like the mid-2000s, that had the All American Rejects, and Marilyn Manson, and Evanescence, and Panic at the Disco, all singing songs. That's all I could think of. But this is a really solid children's, not really horror, but spooky Tim Burton film. I liked it. It's not, I don't think it's my favorite Tim Burton movie. I don't know if I have a favorite Tim Burton movie, to be completely honest. I haven't watched very many of them. I've watched Coraline, and that was a long time ago. So I'm not sure, but it's definitely a solid and fun one. So I'm glad to rewatch it. Then this is actually my last physical DVD. All the rest of them are going to just be posters. Hills Have Eyes, 2006. So this would be the remake. I was a little bit disappointed. I thought I was going to love this. I mean, I love mentally disabled cannibals. I do. That's my favorite horror trope, apparently. I thought with my Texas Chainsaw love, I would love The Hills Have Eyes. Cannibals are one of my favorite horror tropes. And it was fine, I guess. It was kind of fun. I don't know. I was disappointed, man. I don't know. I thought I was going to really love it, but I just didn't. It was fine. It was fine. It was okay. But I didn't love it. And I thought I was going to love it. And that just kind of hurt me. I did like the fact that they used the song California Dreamin', which put me on a tailspin in that song, so that's fun. That was a childhood song that I had forgotten about. But yeah, I gotta watch the original at some point. I haven't watched the original. This one was also directed by Wes Craven though, so it's like a reimagining, but you know, it's just him doing it again if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. I think so. Or produced by. It was produced by him. So it was like he did the original with that guy who he just had a weird shaped head and they put him in all those roles. I gotta watch that original one at some point. I haven't yet. Okay, then November, I watched one whole movie in November. It's NaNoWriMo, don't bother me. And that was a movie I watched with Steven. That is Click, 2006, Adam Sandler. I bawled my fucking eyes out. Okay, so Click is about this dude who, he's like an architect. He's Adam Sandler. And he has a wife that should not be married to Adam Sandler and 2 kids, and he just thinks if he could fast forward through this and get to like the perfect spot in his life, he would be set. He ends up going to a Best Buy, and he finds God in the back, and God's like, here you go, bud. And he has this magical remote, and he starts fast forwarding through life, and I bawled at the end. I cried so hard. So that's fun. I think what Steven said was, I can't believe you cried harder at Click than you did at Titanic, because that's something that happened. So there's that. If you want an Adam Sandler movie that's gonna make you cry, watch Click, I guess. And then December, I only watched one movie in November, like I said. First up, I watched the first season of Everything's Gonna Be Okay, which is a 2020 TV show. This is about a young gay man who is visiting his father and his 2 half-sisters from Australia. He's from Australia, they're in America, when his dad's like, I got cancer, I'm about to die. And so he ends up becoming the guardian of these 2 young girls. They're teenagers. The older one is a senior in high school, the younger one is a freshman. The older one is also autistic. And it's just a fun kind of feel-good kind of show. It's about their kind of adventures. It's about the man who's about my age, maybe a little older, like 24, mid-20s, early to mid-20s, and it's about him learning how to be a parent. It's about the autistic girl Matilda learning how to kind of figure out what she's going to be in the world, and it's about the younger sister Guinevere, something like that, and her going through, that's Steven already? It can't be. Her going through the whole, learning how to be a teenager thing, getting her period, having friends that are weird. Her friends were, honestly, I love Barb. Barb was hilarious. It was a funny show. That was the thing. It was a really funny show. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Then I watched Booksmart, which came out in 2019. This is one that I have had my eye on since I first started seeing trailers of it. It is about these 2 girls. They are about to graduate high school, and they haven't done anything. All they've done is study. And when they learn that everybody in their class is also getting into these really good schools, and they studied and partied, they figure, one last night, we're gonna go out for a party. This one girl, she decides she's gonna go after the girl that she has a crush on. The other one is there, I guess. I don't really remember. It was funny. I liked it. There were some really funny moments. A kind of a forgettable comedy, but a fun one nonetheless. Then I rewatched Deadpool, which came out in 2016. I've watched Deadpool like 6 fucking times. It's a great superhero movie. It's a fun movie. I enjoy it. It didn't make me cry, so that's good. I think Ryan Reynolds was the perfect person to play Wade Wilson, and I'm just happy that they got at least the 2 good ones. I don't know. I heard there was supposed to be a Deadpool 3 coming sometime. I don't know. If it does, I will probably watch it. Probably in theaters. I watched 1 and 2 in theaters. Then I watched Love, Simon, which came out in 2018. I finally watched Love, Simon. I read the book pretty soon after it came out. Never watched the movie. Again, I enjoyed it. I also watched this Nick Robinson in another show a little bit later on, my last movie TV show of the year, but that's for the end of this video. I liked it. Kind of forgettable rom-com-y situation. It was real cute at the end. Not much to say. If you're somehow unaware, Love, Simon is about a boy who is closeted gay kid in Georgia, I believe. I don't know if it's George in the movie, it is in the book. And he ends up accidentally, some kid who he knows, who's generally known as annoying, finds out. This kid, by the way, was in this one zombie horror comedy that I remember really liking. I forget what it's called. It's probably back in here somewhere. I can find it maybe. Not last year. If I figure it out, I'll put up a poster. But he was in that too. It was like Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse or something along those lines. It was an okay movie. Anyway, this kid starts blackmailing Simon, and unless Simon gets his one friend to go out with him, it's a fun movie. Again, kind of forgettable. Probably more impactful if you're a young gay teen. I'm not. I'm a 23-year-old English teacher. Then I watched Dodgeball, a true underdog story, which came out in 2004. It was funny. Again, kind of a forgettable comedy. Listen, I watch comedies. I enjoy comedies. They just leave my head as soon as I watch them. But this is about a guy who owns a gym. He's really bad with his paperwork. It's about to get foreclosed on, and the only way to get the money is to enter this dodgeball tournament. And it's funny. Justin Long is in it, so there's that for horror fans. You got a little Mr. Jeepers Creepers hanging out there, playing a teenager for the 20 years he got to. So there was that. Then rewatched Gremlins, 1984, the perfect Christmas movie. You will notice we watched in December. That's because my family watches Gremlins on Christmas Eve. That's the perfect Christmas movie. I do not give a shit what else you say. That is the perfect Christmas movie. Gremlins, if you don't know, is the story about Billy, whose dad gets him a little Furby looking thing for Christmas, except for this Furby's alive, and you don't put water on him and you don't feed him after midnight. Billy's a dumb shit and does both those things, and the town gets overrun with gremlins, which kill people. They straight up murder people. It's Christmas time. They do caroling. It's fun. I love the young Corey Feldman's there. Gremlins, like I said, best Christmas movie. I love it so much. It's one of my favorite movies, one of my childhood movies, and like I said, it's one that my family does watch a lot around Christmas. So me and Steven went to my mom's house. Keep in mind, I am getting tested for COVID weekly. My school that I work at, we got like 500 tests. There are like 12 teachers at the school, so like everybody can get tested weekly. I'm negative. I don't have COVID. So it was a fun time. Then I watched Sex Ed, which came out in 2014. Haley Joel Osment teaches sex ed to a bunch of inner city middle schoolers despite being a virgin. So I'm not a virgin. I don't know why you need to know that. But watching this, I have recently so like I said, I teach English at like a relatively small high school. It's a small rural school, and my sophomore English class right now is all girls in person. There is one distance boy, and then there's another boy who's just never there last period. He does his English class during our right after lunch. I tell him, like, I run through it with him and make sure he understands the assignment. But he has basketball practice he has to leave early to go to every day, and that class is the last period of the day. So it's all girls, so they get to talking. And they're talking about girl stuff. I mean, I'm a relatively young teacher, so I'm not like a threat or anything. And they're talking about birth control, and none of them have any clue what they're talking about, and I'm just sitting there like, and one of them finally goes, "We need sex ed." They're like, "Oh, the gym teacher would teach it." The gym teacher is like a man in like his 50s. They're like, "Oh no." They're like, "Will you teach us sex ed?" I'm like, "If you have questions, we'll answer them, but I'm not teaching." But dear God. And so I felt a little bit like Haley Joel Osment in that situation, because, well, I am not, I'm not a virgin. I'm not like super worldly. So there's that. But it was funny. It was a funny one. It's so weird to see Haley Joel Osment grown up. And then finally, I watched the first season, hopefully the last season, of A Teacher, which is another 2020 TV show. There's the other Nick Robinson. This is about a boy, a high school senior, and his English teacher, who was like in her early 30s, Kate Mara, otherwise known as Hayden in first season of American Horror Story, aka I Matter. This English teacher and this boy start having a relationship. She ends up getting arrested. Spoiler alert. And it fucks them both up for life. It was so weird, man. Especially as a teacher. Like, honestly, as a teacher of high school students, I do not see how you can look at these children eating paper and be like, want to tap that. Like, it's fucking disgusting. Like, it's just because they're not as children-like as a kindergartner does not mean that they're not still children. Honestly, everybody who was born the year 2000 or after, I was born late 90s, is a child. Like, I don't care if some of them are legally adults. They are a child. Like, it's just gross. Like, teacher-student relationships are always things in, like, books and movies that have always squicked me out. Like, I just do not like it. I like it even less now that I'm a teacher. So these plus all the ones that I watched off of streaming services are all of the movies that I watched in September through December. I will be filming these at a more, less, not so much months after I watch them from now on. No promises on how fast they'll be edited, but at least I'll have more to say. But I want to move fast through these ones because there were a lot of them. But yes, that is all I have today. I will talk to you later, and bye.